morning and thank you for tuning into Halton News right here on YourTV. It's Monday, October 5th, and I'm Jessica Kading. Taking a look at our COVID-19 numbers here in Halton today, we now have a total of 165 active cases in the region. 51 of those cases are in Burlington, 58 in Oakville, 34 in Milton, and 22 in Halton Hills. Unfortunately, there are 2 additional deaths listed now as well. A COVID-19 outbreak has been declared at the Village of Tansley Woods retirement facility, affecting the entire building. 2 residents have died as a result, and there are 4 staff members who have tested positive. There are 4 other ongoing outbreaks, one at Billings Court Manor, another at Camham Woodlands, Chartwell Waterford is affected, and Creekway Village. There are not currently any COVID-19 patients being treated in any of our Halton hospitals. There have been several reports lately about break-and-enters into Burlington businesses where the ATM was targeted and stolen from. After a month-long investigation, police made an arrest today in relation to those incidents. 48-year-old John Bailey of Burlington has now been charged with break-and-enter, possession of fentanyl for the purpose of trafficking, and failure to comply with probation. If you have any further information that could assist, please call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. You may recall the first community-driven art installation in Burlington. The Black Lives Matter mural was painted in front of Burlington City Hall in August. This past weekend, the second installation was unveiled in Spencer Smith Park. Nikki Wesley reports.
The Red Dress Project was originally created by Métis artist Jamie Black in 2010 to commemorate missing and murdered Indigenous women. On Saturday, local artist Amber Ruthhart unveiled the public art installation, The Promenade of Pain, in Spencer Smith Park.
I am a descent of Cree First Nations of White Bear Clan Treaty Number 4, and I have been legally recognized as a 60s scoop survivor. I too have daughters. My eldest is here today, and I have a youngest one named Raven. And boy, she looks native. I want safety for my daughters. I want a future that allows them to not deal with systemic racism.
Valerie King of the Mississaugas of the Credit has been working to bring these atrocities to light for years.
I started a Facebook page called Never to Be Forgotten in 2006, and I post women that go missing or murdered. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 5, a day or a week even. But you'll never see it in the media. You'll never see it on TV, and you'll never see it in the newspaper. But for darn sure, if another nation or race of people that happens to, it's going to be in the newspaper, but our women don't.
In 2006, King started helping to collect the stories of missing and murdered Indigenous women. In 2010, the RCMP took over and reported in 2015 that 1,200 women had gone missing.
And society was shocked, but Indigenous people weren't. But some more people came on board, some more people stepped up to the plate and start doing things like this. And then the Walks for Justice started, where we start going for walks starting from Nova Scotia all the way across to BC, listening to more stories. Almost like taking the mask off your face that many of you are wearing today and having a voice. As the walk was continuing across Canada, the families came, their first time ever. There's over 4,000 missing and murdered Aboriginal women.
King outlined the stories from residential schools that ran from 1883 to 1996, taking 150,000 children away from their families and their culture, including the medical testing that she herself underwent at day school.
And of those 150,000, 30,000 of them never came home. So you think about that. It didn't start just 5, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, the missing and murdered. 30,000 never came home. Racism is not dead. Systemic racism in our health, justice, education system as a nation grieves the recent appalling tragic death of another tragic story of a woman named Joy Ashikan. She was 37. A mother of 7 from Adamakat Nation, In her final moments, she went Facebook Live this last week, recording her treatment she spent listening to racial slurs. I'm not going to repeat them. And she died pleading for help.
A report by Amnesty International stated in 2012 that the homicide rate for Indigenous women is roughly 4.5 times higher than that of all other women in Canada. Since then, it has gone up and is now 7 times greater.
When I do the vigils, it's not just for show. It's for all my women that are behind me and all the women coming. Because when I post those women on the Facebook, it looks like my niece. It looks like my sister. It looks like my daughter. And it could be. I always tell my daughters never travel alone, because you can't.
When people of Burlington come down this path, I'm really hoping that they're going to start asking questions. Why are the red dresses here? How come there's so many? What does this mean? What is this? Why? And when they read the placards, they'll understand that this is for murdered and missing Indigenous women. It may not be so prevalent here in Halton, in Hamilton, in Burlington, in all these areas, but it is across Canada. Like, not in this area, but it's such a hidden challenge that we have in Canada. And, you know, we start opening eyes and getting people to recognize that, yes, this is part of our history. This is part of what is happening now. And just to get that message out and get those voices heard is really important.
I just have to say it's haunting, isn't it? You see these empty dresses hanging, and I'm told there are close to 60. That's a fraction of what we know in terms of women who have gone missing. Imagine if it was all of the women that have gone missing and girls that have gone missing or been murdered because they were Indigenous, because they were women.
Reporting for Halton News, I'm Nikki Wesley.
In honor of Fire Prevention Week, we spoke with Oakville Fire Chief Paul Boissonneau this morning to see how the fire department will be getting their message out during the pandemic. Let's take a look.
This week is Fire Prevention Week, so as a department, it's obviously a different time for everybody associated with COVID restrictions, so we're doing our best to get out to all the families virtually, coming up with new bright ideas, sending out more things on social media. We've got things on our Twitter page, on our new Facebook page, so we're really trying to get this year's messaging of serving up fire safety in the kitchen. We're trying to get that out to people as best we can, and I think that our Fire Prevention Division is doing a great job in doing so.
Halton Hills Fire Chief Harry Olivieri has decided to hang up his gear following a 36-year career. Starting as a volunteer firefighter in Ancaster in 1984, he became a full-time firefighter and progressed through the ranks to captain and fire safety officer. In 2005, he joined the Halton Hills Fire Department as Deputy Chief of Prevention and Public Education and was promoted to Commissioner and Fire Chief in 2018. In a statement, Rick Bennett said, "I want to thank the Chief for his service and dedication to this community. People who choose to make a career in the civil service typically do so because they want to give back to the community. This has certainly been the case with Chief Olivieri, who has made his mark over 15 years of service with the town."
Yeah,
it's of course also important to be safe out there while walking or riding around on your bike, especially as night begins to fall and drivers' ability to see you is greatly reduced. It's not uncommon to see joggers or sometimes even cyclists wearing all black, but Sergeant Ryan Snow urges you to take your attire more seriously as it could save your life.
Yeah, you know, it's a really, really great topic to discuss as we trend into the fall. Again, we're noticing the days are definitely getting shorter. We're not quite at daylight savings time yet, or the end of, where it's going to get dark around 5 in the afternoon. But it's a great opportunity to talk about pedestrian and cyclist safety and to kind of recalibrate some of that behavior that kind of creeps in as you're still walking and cycling at 9 at night and it's bright out. So definitely some good proactive tips that, you know, police recommend. You know, if you're going on out for a run, whether it's 5 in the morning or 8 at night, make sure you've got on reflective clothing. Recognize that, you know, motorists were only able to see you if there's something about you that doesn't kind of, you know, that steps out from the background. So, you know, I can tell in the last couple of weeks, I'm seeing joggers at 5 in the morning, all in black. It's dark out when I'm coming into work. And if it isn't just for that kind of, you see that motion ultimately they just sink into the background, which ultimately is very unsafe again for a pedestrian on our roadways. So bright clothing, ensuring that they kind of separate themselves from the traffic lanes, utilize sidewalks or some of the kind of trails and routes that don't involve traffic within the region. There's lots of those. Ultimately ensuring you're aware of your surroundings, maybe cut the volume down on the music if you're wearing headphones or some sort of ear pod, are all great ways to be able to mitigate some of that risk. It's that message, it's never ever going to grow old. If you are a cyclist, you are a pedestrian, you are a vulnerable road user, it's not right of way when it comes to traffic, it's right of weight. So do what you can to protect yourself and keep out of a kind of a close quarters interaction with a vehicle that could weigh 4,000 to 6,000 pounds.
Just as the disease attacks our most vulnerable from a public health point of view, it attacks the most vulnerable economically as well. That's a quote from the Honourable Perrin Beatty, Canadian Chamber of Commerce President and CEO, as our guest on the next episode of The Issue. The show looks at how COVID-19 has affected businesses across Canada and what measures the Chamber is advocating to help.
I was just wondering, you represent various sectors of the economy. Is there a specific sector that you're most worried about going forward?
Yes, there is. Usually what happens in a recession is it's first in, first out. The sector that gets hit first is the first to come back out. In this instance, that's not the case. So you take the tourism, hospitality, restaurants, hotels, travel, festivals, all of that sector, they were the first to be hit. And they're likely going to be the last to come out of the recession as well. So in a survey that we did in conjunction with Statistics Canada, looking at restaurants in Canada, about 2/3 of them said that without supports, if they have to deal with social distancing for public health reasons, without support, as many as 2/3 of them would have to close permanently by the end of November. Same for hotels. It's been a very tough summer for hotels, particularly urban hotels, as people were trying to flee the city. Now they would be going into convention season, business conference season, business luncheon season, business travel season, Christmas parties and so on. All of that is gone. And we're running the risk that a very high percentage of the hotels in Canada could find themselves in very serious circumstances. You look at the airlines and you look at airports, where an airline loses 95% of its business. It's just unsustainable. And then it takes everybody else with it. All of the concessions at the airport, the taxis, the restaurants, the hotels, and so on. And we also run the risk that in many communities across Canada, we could be losing our airline service that we have today unless something changes.
The full episode of The Issue airs tomorrow, Tuesday at 8 p.m. Tim Cadigan has completed his 2-year term as chair of the Oakville Chamber of Commerce, and Chamber President and CEO Drew Redden congratulates him on an outstanding job. The Chamber now welcomes Doug Eglington as the chair of the board for the rest of 2020 and into 2021. He's been a member of the Oakville Chamber for over 18 years, has served on the board of directors for 3 years, and as vice chair of the board since 2018. Doug Eglington will bring welcoming remarks at the Chairs Community Forum, which will be held in place of the traditional Chairs Dinner this year. Tune in for this thought-provoking conversation with Oakville's business leaders right here on YourTV on Thursday, October 8th at 8 p.m. Or if you prefer, you can watch it on the Oakville Chamber's Facebook page as well. We do need to take a short break now. We'll be right back with more after this. Welcome back to Halton News. As Dr. Bhattacharya, a local psychiatrist, is about to explain, it's normal for short-term survival choices to take precedence over your longer-term goals in a crisis situation. But with COVID-19 here to stay for the time being, he suggests you reconsider working towards those longer-term goals once again.
Hi, this is Dr. Ashik Bhattacharya speaking to you from the Empathy Clinic here in Oakville. Today I want to talk about long-range plans. So, when a pandemic's going on, a lot of us have lots of short-term problems that need to be solved immediately. So they can't wait, and they accumulate and they build up to the point where we've got a lot of things going on that need our immediate attention. But what about those long-range plans? So for a lot of us, they're on pause, just like this remote control. So we put our long-range plans on pause so they don't move along. The problem with that is that when the short-range problems are over, then what about those long-range plans? What's happened to them? If we haven't at least kept them running somewhere, which means kind of in the back burner, then when we get back to them, maybe we just can't press pause again, and we have to go right back at the same spot and start all over again. So for many of us, it's really important, especially if you're a busy person and you have lots of goals in your future, it's really helpful to make sure that you don't put them on pause for too long before they get stale. It's important to press play and go ahead and just keep working on your long-range plans, because they'll be there when the short-range stuff is over. Okay, take care, stay safe.
Beautiful day out there today. Here's a look downtown Burlington at the art installation there as we look into our 5-day forecast. Another beautiful day tomorrow. Mix of sun and cloud expected, reaching a high of 18 degrees and a low of 8. On Wednesday, we're looking at a 60% chance of rain showers starting late morning. 19 degrees is your high, and then sunshine expected leading up to this Thanksgiving long weekend. We've got 17 degrees without a cloud in the sky on Thursday, once again on Friday, and then a mix of sun and cloud for you on Saturday at 19 degrees. The Burlington Chamber is offering early bird pricing right now on their upcoming Small Business Week virtual conference. The event is meant to offer participants insight and inspiration from prominent thought leaders and experts to help organizations become more resilient and develop the leadership skills necessary to succeed in this current COVID-19 reality. For more information or to register, please visit burlingtonchamber.com. And now we'll look to how some of Halton's top companies have performed on the markets today. Thanksgiving is upon us, and it's a time when many are thankful and also looking at how they can give back. We'll have more on how you can help here in your community after the break. Thanks for staying with us here on Halton News. The Burlington Food Bank has been giving our community daily updates throughout the pandemic, and with Thanksgiving coming up, there's even more to be grateful for.
This is Robin Bailey, the Executive Director of the Burlington Food Bank. Like we said last week, things are picking up here at the Food Bank and getting a little bit busier, especially that we're getting closer to Thanksgiving. So we just had our driver come in this morning who went around to a number of the local grocery stores and came back with a whole lot of food. So thank you so much for your continuing to support us through the local grocers, buying food there and then dropping it off for us to be able to distribute it here in Burlington out to the families that need it. We also wanted to thank Feed Ontario for their fantastic donation of 50 turkeys. So we're able to distribute that out to families. They're really large turkeys, so with the government saying that it's going to be smaller gatherings, there'll be some leftovers, and we actually had some families talk about that it's a great meal after the meal. And so it doesn't just help with the Thanksgiving meal, but also continues on. So we're really happy to be able to offer that out to our clients. And finally, we just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who continues to think of us, support us, and whether you're giving to us financially or through food, we really appreciate it. And especially to those who haven't used us who need to, please email us info@burlingtonfoodbank.ca or give us a call 905-637-2273.
The St. Andrew's United Church Outreach Team is offering a free community dinner. These dinners are being offered on the third Friday of each month. Their next dinner is scheduled for Friday, October 16th, and the doors open at 6 p.m. All are welcome. The church is located at 89 Mountain View Road, South in Georgetown. For more information, please call 905-877-4482. The 80-plus Hockey Hall of Fame was set up in 2011 to recognize active hockey players who are 80 years of age and older. Each year, there's an induction ceremony to inaugurate new members into the hall. This year, the 2020 inauguration will be hosted on October 24th by the Burlington Old Timers Hockey Club in Burlington. Any Canadian hockey player who is 80 years or older and playing hockey regularly is eligible to be inducted. Anyone interested in becoming a member of the 80-plus Hall of Fame should contact Maurice Mo at mauricem@visotron.ca. If you're looking for something socially distanced to do with the family that feels like a getaway but's right here in your backyard, you should know that Bronte Creek Provincial Park is still open for camping in your tent or RV trailer. They're also open for day use activities such as hiking and bird watching. The use of off-leash dog area is also available. There are no fire bans or boil water advisories at this time. The park is open daily from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Pumpkins After Dark is an event for the entire family. It runs through November 1st. The event features 150 one-of-a-kind pumpkin sculptures, which can be viewed from the comfort of your own car on the 2.5-kilometer loop at the scenic Country Heritage Park in Milton. Tickets are only available online. For more information and to buy those tickets, you can visit pumpkinsafterdark.com. We have a brand new show premiering here on YourTV tonight called Taking a Stand Matters, hosted by Richard Pinnock. Be sure to tune in. We have Andrew Tyrell as his first guest tonight of the Caribbean Association of Halton. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for tuning in to Halton News right here on YourTV. We'll be back tomorrow night at 5:30. Until then, I invite you to connect with us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at YourTV Halton. We're also available via email at haltonnews@cogeco.com. Feel free to send us any comments, questions, or story ideas. We're also available online at yourtv.tv for more content. For Halton News, I'm Jessica Kading.